Hello, and welcome to this episode of yoga in collaboration with Meta Warriors Movement. I'm Michelle, and I'll be leading you through this yoga sequence focused on one of the menopause symptoms of anger and mood swings, also known as menorage. Moodiness, or menorage, happens due to a fluctuation of hormones in our body. This tends to be even more prominent during perimenopause and menopause as our estrogen levels decrease due to our ovaries producing fewer eggs. Women have estrogen receptors all over their bodies, including their brains. A reduction of estrogen in the body can set off a range of symptoms, including low mood and anger. This is because estrogen levels, or estrogen, also helps regulate our feel-good hormone known as serotonin. This yoga sequence will focus on calming our moods through a series of asanas and breathwork. For this practice, you will need 2 or 3 blocks, a bolster, and a blanket. I hope you enjoy it. Okay, let's start seated on our mats. And we're going to begin with a meditation to calm our minds called Satanama. It's a really good meditation to keep you calm. It doesn't have to be during menorage. It could be at any point during the day or in your life. So begin by taking your hand, and I'm going to use my right hand. So it'll be left finger to thumb. And every time I say Satanama, touching my fingers. So inhaling sa, exhaling ta, inhaling na, exhaling ma, and beginning again. Sa, ta, na, ma. And again. Inhale. Sa, ta, na, ma. And you don't have to say this out loud. You can say it in your head. Sa, ta, na, ma. Sa, ta, na, ma. Sa, ta, na, ma. One more round. Sa, ta, na, ma. And just bringing your hands back down to your lap. Take a few breaths here to reset. And we're going to bring our hands behind our backs. Inhale, rolling the shoulders, lifting that chest up. Taking a nice few breaths in here. Breathing in deep. And as you exhale, forward fold, only as far as your body allows. Maybe using that exhale to lever the hands up a little bit higher. And just breathing into that space. Inhale, lifting up. Let's take our right hand onto our left knee, left hand behind us, breathing in tall. And then as we exhale, twist. Breathing in tall. Exhaling to twist. Coming back to center, and I'm just going to switch my legs around so that my other leg is on top, just so my other hip is a little bit more stretched. Hands behind the back again, rolling the shoulders back, lifting the chin, lifting the chest, breathing in here. And then as you exhale, one more breath in, exhaling, forward fold. And again, maybe using that breath, the exhale, to lever the arms a little bit higher if you wish, or if not, if that's as far as your body goes, that's fine. Using that breath, inhaling and exhaling. Inhaling, lifting up. This time, left hand, right knee. Coming all the way up, lifting up. As we breathe in, exhaling and twisting. Breathing in. Exhale to twist again if you wish. Breathing in and coming back to center. We're going to come over onto our hands and knees, onto our mats, and just making sure that our knees are hip distance apart. So that's about 2 fists between the knees. That's hip distance. And we're going to bring our wrists either under our shoulders, or if that's uncomfortable, you can walk those hands slightly forward. And we're going to come into cat-cow. So breathing in, lifting the chin, lifting the tailbone. And then as you exhale, arching that back, tucking that tailbone under into cat. Inhaling back into cow, lifting the chin, lifting the tailbone out. Exhaling, rounding the back into cat. Breathing in again into cow. Exhale into cat. Inhaling into cow one more time. Last round, exhaling into cat. And then just pressing back onto our heels into child's pose. And just resting here for a few moments. So just slowly beginning to make our way back into tabletop. If you need to, move those hands slightly forward. And we're going to lower ourselves down, chest, chin, onto the mat. Inhaling, lifting that chest into a baby cobra. And then as we exhale, we're going to press ourselves up into tabletop and sit back onto our heels, back into child's pose. Again, inhale, lifting into tabletop. Exhaling, lowering down to the mat. Inhaling into baby cobra. And then lifting ourselves up, exhaling, pressing all the way back into child's pose. Inhale, lifting into tabletop. Exhale, lower down. Just make sure those elbows point back. Inhaling, baby cobra. Exhaling back into child's pose. Breathing in, lifting back into tabletop. Lowering down one more time. Inhaling into our cobra. If you want to go a bit higher, you can. And lift back into child's pose. So from here, just coming into tabletop. Again, lower down. Inhale, press up into cobra.
and then up into child's pose. So we're going to start to make our way up, coming back into tabletop, just tucking those toes. Going to lift those hips just into a quick down dog. And from there, just walk those feet in towards the hands. And we're going to keep the knees slightly bent, bringing the chest onto the thighs, grabbing the elbows, and just resting here for a moment in ragdoll. Just staying here. Let that chest rest on those thighs. That means if you need to bend the knees, go ahead. If you feel really tight to the hamstrings, definitely bend those knees. If you're able to straighten the legs a bit more, keeping the chest on the thighs, you're welcome to go that route. Just letting that blood flow to the head, calming, resting, breathing, beginning to roll up to standing. Make your way to the top of your mat. Bring your hands to heart center. And as you inhale, raising those hands up to the ceiling. Let's exhale. We're going to forward fold at the waist, bringing the hands down to the mat. Bend your knees if you need to. We're going to inhale, halfway lift, bringing the hands on the shins, and a nice flat back. Exhaling, bringing the hands back down. We're going to step the right leg back, bringing the knee down, lifting those arms up into a lunge. Exhaling, bringing the hands down on either side of the left foot. Step it back, knees on the mat, lowering down, chest and chin. Inhaling into a cobra. Exhaling, tuck those toes. Coming onto the tabletop, stepping that right leg forward, help it along. Lift the hands up into lunge. Exhale, hands down. Tuck the back foot in, lifting that leg up. We're going to turn that heel in, lifting those arms up, keeping that right leg bent, coming into warrior one. Breathing in here, bring the hands behind the back, clasping the hands, roll the shoulders, lift that chest. Breathe in. This time, as you exhale, lower the chest down next to the thigh, lifting those arms up into humble warrior. Inhale, lifting up, raise those arms up back into warrior one. Exhaling, bringing the hands down on either side of the right foot. And just simply turn that heel, step that foot in. Lifting up, halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, lifting all the way up. Arms come all the way up. Exhaling, hands to heart center. Let's go again. Inhale, lifting those hands all the way up. Exhaling, forward fold. Inhaling, halfway lift, nice flat back. Exhaling, forward fold. This time, step the left leg back, bring that left knee down. Raise those arms up, kneeling lunge. Exhaling, bringing the hands down. Step the right knee back, and again, lowering or coming from a plank. Lowering to the mat. Inhaling, lifting into cobra. Tuck those toes, come back into tabletop. Step that left leg forward. Help it along. Inhale, lift those arms up. Kneeling crescent lunge. Exhaling, hands on either side of that front foot. And we're going to come into warrior one on this side. So lift, chest, lift the hands, left knee is bent. Make sure that chest is facing forward. Breathing in here. Bring the hands behind the back. Clasp the hands. Roll the shoulders. Lift that chest. Lift that chin. Exhaling, forward fold into humble warrior. Again, use the exhale to lever those arms up if you need to. Inhale, lifting the chest up. Raise those arms once more into warrior one. Bringing those hands down on either side of that left foot and just stepping that right foot in. Inhaling, halfway lift. Exhaling, forward fold. Inhale, lifting all the way up. Hands back down to heart center. So we'll do that again, just adding on a different variation. Have your blocks at hand, just maybe at the top of your mat. Hands at heart center. Inhale, lifting up. Exhale, forward fold. Inhaling, lifting into halfway lift. Exhaling, forward fold. Stepping that right foot back. You can keep that right knee up or down. Lifting up into a lunge, crescent lunge. Exhale, forward fold. Hands on either side. Stepping back into downwards facing dog and then rolling into a plank or knees. Up to you. Lower yourself down to the mat. Breathing into cobra once more. Tucking those toes, lifting those hips this time into downwards facing dog. So from here, we're going to take our blocks and we're going to stack the blocks so that we can rest our head on them. And we're going to stay in downwards facing dog with our heads on the block for about a minute. So make yourself comfortable, stack the blocks as you need them, and just staying here, coming back to that breath, letting the pressure of the block hit the third eye. So that's that space between the eyebrows. Our space for inspiration, intuition, and just letting our mind relax. Coming back to that breath. Slowing it down. And then just slowly coming down onto our hands and knees. Move the blocks to the side. And we're going to come into a resting child's pose. So taking your bolster, bringing it between the knees. And we're going to lay our chest down. Just make ourselves comfortable. And again, we're going to stay here for a few minutes. So just coming back to that breath. Following it in. And then following it out. Slowly beginning to make your way out of child's pose. Press yourself up. Move your bolster to the side. We'll need it again in a few minutes. So coming back into tabletop, tucking those toes, lifting those hips, and we're just going to step the feet to the top of the mat. From here, just inhaling, lifting those arms all the way up again. Exhaling, hands back down to heart center. Inhale, lifting those hands all the way up. Exhaling, forward fold, coming down to the mat. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhaling, forward fold. Stepping the left leg back. And again, knee can be up or down as we come into a high lunge or into our lunge. Exhale, hands down to the mat. Stepping the right leg back into downwards facing dog. Just stay here for a few breaths. If you want to use your brick again to rest your head on, you're more than welcome to do that. If you are finding that it's too much to keep staying in down dog, you're welcome to come back into child's pose and rest. So just staying here, following that breath in, following that breath out. Just relaxing the mind. So just move the brick out of the way, stepping that right leg forward. We're going to come up, and this time we're just going to turn. And we're going to come into goddess pose. So the heels come in, toes turn out, hips, or knees are a little bit wider than hips, sinking down. Make sure those knees stay open, chest is upright. We're going to bring the hands onto hips for the first little bit. And as we breathe in, exhale, bring that right shoulder to left knee, lifting up. Left shoulder, right knee. Inhaling up. Lift the hands up. We're going to add lion's breath here. So for this bit, really good for releasing rage. As we breathe in, as we exhale, we're going to bring that tongue to the chin. Look those eyes up, breathing in. Letting out a big roar. Hands back on the hips. Exhaling, twist. Inhale up. Exhale, twist again. Inhale, coming up. Back to our lion's breath. Arms come up. Breathe in nice and deep. Hands on waist. And let's twist. Inhale, coming up. Exhaling, twisting. Breathing in, coming up. Lion's breath once more. Arms up, breathe in. Hands onto waist, one more round. Exhale, twist. Inhale. Exhale, twist. Inhale, final roar. Breathe in deep. Let it all out. Just straightening the knees, turning to the top of our mat. Once more, lifting those arms up, exhaling on either side of that front foot. Stepping back into downwards facing dog, lowering onto our knees. And coming back into our resting child's pose once more. So bringing that bolster between the knees, just resting the head, whichever way feels comfortable on your bolster. And just staying here for about a minute. So we're going to just start making our way back to seated, pressing ourselves up. And from this child's pose, just move your bolster over just a little bit. We're going to use it again. We're going to make our way into pigeon pose. So from here, coming onto tabletop, stepping or helping that right leg forward, sliding that left leg back behind you, not to the outside of your mat. We're going to take that right foot and help it along or move it over to the left side of the mat, just so that the shin is roughly parallel with the top of the mat. If your right hip feels like it's falling over, use a block or a blanket and just place it underneath that right hip, just so you get that nice stretch in the outside of that glute in the hip area. And it helps you stay up, especially if you find it hard to get into this pose. So we're going to stay upright this time for a few breaths, lifting that chest, breathing in. And we're just going to add a quad stretch. So all we're going to do is lift that left foot up, reach back with the left hand, and we're just going to stretch the front of the thighs into the quads. If you find it hard to reach the foot, just use a belt or a strap or a bathrobe belt or a belt from a dressing gown. Just holding here again. Releasing that foot. We're just going to press ourselves into downwards facing dog one more time. Just pedal those feet out. Just get some blood back into the legs if needed. And then we're going to come back onto our knees. And then we're going to step the left leg forward, sliding that right leg behind us. And this time moving the left foot to the right side of your mat. Again, shin coming roughly parallel to the top of your mat. And again, if you need to use that block or that blanket under the hip, place it there just to help you from rolling over. That way you get that nice juicy stretch in the thigh. Keeping that chest up in our pigeon this time. Breathing in. Staying here. Stretching through the hips and through the glute. Releasing all that tension, all that rage. Once again, we're going to lift that right foot up, reach back with the right hand. Again, use a strap or a belt if you need to help you. Holding on, stretching through the front of the leg, through the thigh, through the quads. Releasing that foot. Once more, stepping into our downwards facing dog, pedaling those feet out one more time. Coming back onto hands and knees and just making our way into seated. So we're going to come into a more relaxing pose using our bolster, bringing that left foot into the right thigh. And we're going to take our bolster, place it on the top of our right leg, our extended leg. And you might want to use a block or a blanket to place on top the bolster. We're going to come into half butterfly. It's a little bit more relaxing pose. You're still getting a stretch through the legs, into the deeper tissue, into the deeper fascia, into the joints. Just in a little bit more relaxing way. So placing that blanket, coming down, resting the head on the blanket or the block, whatever you have on top of your bolster. And then again, just coming down to relax for a minute or two. So we're going to begin to make our way out of this pose, pressing our chest up slowly. Just move your props to the side. And all we're going to do is switch legs. So bring that right foot into the left thigh. And then just moving your bolster back onto that left leg. Same, you can use, again, whatever you want on top of the bolster. If you feel like you want to come down a bit lower, just readjust your props, coming back down to rest for the next few minutes. So we're going to begin to make our way out of this pose again, pressing your chest up slowly. And we're going to make our way into our final pose, prone shavasana. We're going to use our blanket and we're going to use our bolster. So with our blanket, we're just going to unroll it if it's rolled up and refold it. So I'm going to fold it lengthwise. And this bit is going to go underneath my body. So you want to make sure there's no lumps and bumps in it. Coming towards the top of your mat. Not doing a very good job here. There we go. And then we're going to bring the bolster towards the bottom of our mat. Our feet are going to rest on the bolster. Our rest of our body is going to rest on the blanket. Hands can be beside you or underneath the head. If you find that the bolster causes your back to arch too much, you can always replace the bolster with a brick or a cushion just to lower the feet down a bit. But just laying here in our shavasana, in our prone shavasana, I want you to come back to that breath, following the breath in, and then noticing as it transitions into an exhale. Just relaxing the mind. If you want to come back to Satanama, as we did in the beginning of the class, you're welcome to come to that. So inhaling Sa, exhaling Ta, inhaling Na, exhaling Ma. So you can pause the video here and stay in Shavasana for as little or as long as you like. When you're ready to come out of Shavasana, just begin to wiggle the fingers and toes, bringing gentle movement back into the body. Slowly coming back into the room and slowly beginning to press yourself up onto your hands and knees. Just keep the head nice and low as we come into seated. And when you're seated, just beginning to rub those palms together until they become nice and hot. When you feel that heat and energy in the palms, Just cup them over in front of your face without touching it, letting that heat and energy seep back into your body. Maybe blinking the eyes open. And then slowly releasing the hands to the floor. Let's take a nice deep breath in, reaching all the way up. Exhaling, hands to heart center. One more time, inhaling loving kindness for ourselves and exhaling compassion for others. Thank you for practicing with me in this episode. See you in the next one. Namaste.